Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, August 9th, 2018. Critical fire weather conditions continue to move into the Great Basin for the next few days. For today, we continue to see hot, dry, and unstable conditions across the geographic area with high hanes and very warm temperatures. By Friday, we'll see a little bit of wind move into far western Nevada, and those hot and dry conditions will continue over Utah and Idaho. By Saturday, those strong winds will spread further into western Nevada and up into western Idaho, and we'll begin to see some isolated dry thunderstorms move up into southern and central Utah. Generally, sunny skies and hot temperatures dominated the weather pattern yesterday, except for some very isolated thunderstorms across the far southern Great Basin. New initial attack was quite light and has been for the past few days as lightning activity has been very limited. But we have seen excessive growth on many of our ongoing large fires. Shown here is a precipitation for the past 7 days, both the observed and the percent of normal. We can see that it has continued to be very dry across Idaho and northern and western Nevada. We did see a little bit of precipitation move into eastern Nevada and southern Utah early in the period, but it's been dry for the past few days. ERC percentiles remain very high for the northern half of the geographic area, with many stations sitting above the 97th percentile and a large majority at least above the 90th percentile. Taking a closer look at a few of our predictive services areas, over the east central Idaho mountains, we can see those values bumping up on the 97th percentile and getting fairly close to the historical maximums for the time of year. For Utah, we are seeing near record-breaking or record-breaking ERCs for the time of year for many of those PSAs. This one in particular is for the mountains of the Wasatch Front here. This morning's satellite imagery shows that strong area of high pressure still centered right over the Great Basin, leading to very hot temperatures near records in some areas and high hanes across much of the geographic area. The other feature we'll look at is this large area of low pressure off the Pacific coast. This will begin to move inland over the next couple of days and push this high pressure center off to the east, bringing some winds, lightning, and decreasing temperatures across the geographic area. For this afternoon, we continue to see very hot and dry and unstable conditions across the geographic area. High-risk triggers have been issued for these conditions over much of Idaho, northern and western Nevada, and much of Utah. The one good thing here is that the winds will remain light across the region, but we are looking for those hanes of 6 to pop up once again this afternoon over much of the geographic area. More of the same is expected on Friday, although we will begin to see the area of high pressure shifting slightly further east, which will decrease some of those really hot temperatures over Nevada. But we'll still see high-risk triggers issued for those hot, dry, and unstable conditions over Idaho, northeast Nevada, and much of Utah. As this area of low pressure gets closer to the Pacific coast, we will begin to see wind speeds pick up over far western Nevada on Friday. And as this ridge slides a little bit further east, some moisture will begin to work into far southern Great Basin. Winds will remain generally light across the geographic area on Friday, except over far western Nevada, where they'll begin to pick up out ahead of that next area of low pressure. And across the far southern Great Basin, wherever we have thunderstorms developing, we expect to see gusty outflow winds, and we may see a slight increase in thunderstorm coverage across the far south beginning on Friday. On Saturday, the bulk of the heat and the high pressure system has moved off to the east, and now we'll begin to see the influences from that low pressure trough moving into the Pacific Northwest. This will include increased winds over far western Nevada and far western Idaho, and we'll begin to see thunderstorm coverage increasing over southern and central Great Basin. High-risk triggers have been issued for the wind and for some of these drier thunderstorms moving up into eastern Nevada and western Utah. Here we can see those wind speeds picking up, especially over western Nevada. And then over the far southern Great Basin, where those thunderstorms develop, we'll see those strong gusty outflow winds. The image on the right shows the areas where we'll expect to see those thunderstorms develop and possibly begin to produce a little bit of precipitation. And that's mainly going to be over southeast Nevada and southwest Utah. The 3-day precipitation accumulations are shown here. Really, we're looking for that increased precipitation in the Saturday time frame over far southern Nevada and southwest Utah, and mainly over the higher elevations. By Sunday, stronger winds will spread across Idaho and northern Nevada, and we'll begin to see that moisture moving further northward into the center of the Great Basin, kicking off isolated dry thunderstorms over northern Utah, and possibly even up into eastern Idaho. High-risk triggers have been issued for both the wind and the lightning in Utah. More of the same is expected on Monday, as we'll see that moisture continue to move northward through the Great Basin. A mix of wet and dry thunderstorms is expected to continue over northern Utah, northeast Nevada, and southeast Idaho. Winds may lighten up just a bit as the influence of that low pressure trough moves off to the north and east. And by Tuesday, it looks like the high pressure begins to build back into the Great Basin for increasing temperatures once again, and we'll see a little bit of that moisture still in place underneath the ridge, which could develop into afternoon isolated thunderstorms over the higher elevations. On Wednesday, that drier southwest flow begins to increase once again over California, and we may start to see some drying moving into Nevada with some lingering moisture possibly over Idaho. The 7-day precip totals show some of this moisture moving northward through the Great Basin early next week, especially over Utah and into northeast Nevada. Idaho will remain dry, and as will northwest Nevada. The extended forecast from the Climate Prediction Center is calling for those above normal temperatures across much of the western U.S., especially Idaho and Nevada, and below normal precipitation over Idaho with a chance for some above normal precip, mainly limited to Arizona, but might pop into far southern Nevada and southern Utah. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.